5 days ago, my wife vanished and turned our house into a crime scene in my head. Tonight, she walks back through the door like she just forgot to text me from the mall. You want to know what it feels like when your wife's been gone for 5 days? Feels like cold coffee and rain on glass. Like your own kitchen turning into a police interview room. I'm sitting at the table, fingers around a mug that went cold 3 hours ago. The house is quiet in that way that makes you hear the fridge, the pipes, your own pulse. Her chair is pushed in. Her phone is still on the counter, dead and useless, cable dangling like a question mark. Day 1, I thought, traffic, late meeting, dead battery. Normal stuff. Day 2, I filed a missing persons report. They ask all the standard questions: drug use, mental health, fights, affairs. I say no to all of it because at that point I still believe my own answers. I print out photos, I sign forms, I nod like I'm in control. Nights are worse. You don't sleep, you just lay down and stare. At 3 a.m. on day 3, I'm driving empty streets, checking hospital parking lots, trailheads, the spot by the river where people go to think about ending things. I lean on the steering wheel and listen to the engine tick and tell myself she's not out there in a ditch. Everyone has theories. Her sister thinks she needed space. My buddy Mark says, "She'll turn up, man." The cop with the tired eyes says, "Most adults come back on their own. None of them have to crawl into that cold bed on my side and wonder if they're a husband or a widower." By day 4, I've called every hospital within 100 miles. By day 5, there's this numb place in my chest where panic burned itself out. I'm not okay, but I'm done being helpless. In that gray space between exhausted and empty, I pull out a suitcase. I start folding clothes, not hers, mine. One stack, then another. Shirts, jeans, documents in a folder. I don't know yet if I'm leaving this house or just drawing a line. But I know one thing. Whatever this is, it doesn't come back the same. The rain gets heavier. It drums on the window over the sink. I'm sitting there, suitcase hidden in the hall closet, staring at that dead coffee, when I hear it. Metal on metal. The key. For 5 days I've imagined that sound and never heard it. Now it scrapes in the front door like it's any other Tuesday. My heart jumps so hard my vision actually fuzzes. I'm already half standing when the lock turns and the door swings open. Amanda Miller walks in like she's hitting a runway. Designer coat I've never seen before, camel-colored and belted tight. New boots, rain beating on smooth leather. Hair done like she stepped out of a salon, not 5 days of being missing. Shopping bags on her arm. And that look on her face. Not relief, not guilt. A smirk, like I'm supposed to be grateful. "Hey," she says, like she's 20 minutes late, not 5 days gone. "You look terrible." I'm standing in the doorway to the kitchen, bare feet on cold tile, wearing the same t-shirt I slept in. For a second, the part of me that's been screaming, "Where were you?" finally gets its chance. The questions claw up my throat. "Where have you been, Amanda? Do you have any idea?" She brushes past me, the scent of some new perfume trailing behind her. Drops the bags on the table, right next to my cold coffee like it's just clutter in her way. "Jason, relax," she says, not even looking at me. "I needed time. You're overreacting." Something inside me stops. Just stops. 5 days of calling hospitals, talking to cops, imagining morgues. 5 nights staring at the front door. And she walks in dressed head to toe in new, expensive answers she has no intention of giving. She finally glances up, catches my face, and there it is again. That little twisted smile that says she thinks I won't do a damn thing but take her back. That's the exact second the shock hardens into something else. Not rage. Not tears. Clarity. I see her, really see her, and I realize the missing person in this house isn't the woman in the doorway. It's the man who would have begged her to stay. I packed a suitcase. I hear myself say, voice calm, almost flat. She frowns. "What?" "While you were gone," I say, eyes steady on hers. "I made a decision." She laughs once, dismissive, already turning away toward the stairs. She has no idea that the 5 days that scared me to death just killed our marriage instead. She's halfway up the stairs when she hears it. The thud of the suitcase on the hardwood. Amanda stops, one hand on the rail, annoyed more than curious. That's when I know I'm doing the right thing, because even now, her first instinct is irritation. "What are you doing?" she snaps, turning halfway, eyes narrowed. I set the suitcase upright in the foyer. It's scuffed. Old. One of the ones we used for road trips back when we meant something. Now it's just a container for an exit. "Your key card stopped working last night," I told her. My voice sounds different, even to me. No begging in it. Just facts. "About 26 hours ago." I pull my phone out, open the home security app, tilt it so she can see the log. Red text. "Access denied, Amanda, 9:13 p.m. Her eyes flick from the screen to my face. There's a tiny crack in the attitude now. "You disabled my access?" "Yeah," I say. "After the police, the missing persons report, the 5 nights where I thought you were dead in a ditch, I figured I could at least control who walks into my house." "Our house?" She fires back automatically. I nod once at the suitcase. "Not for long." That lands. She comes down 2 steps, chin out. "Jason, you're being dramatic. I told you I needed space. Couldn't breathe. You're making this into. I cut in. "Into what, Amanda?" "I called hospitals. I talked to cops who looked at me like maybe you'd just run off. I had to call your sister and say, 'We don't know where she is.' I lay in our bed every night staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever get a call to come identify your body." Her mouth tightens. The smirk is gone, but the contempt isn't. "So what, you're punishing me now?" "No," I say. "I'm done being punished." I pick up the folder from the entry table. The papers feel heavier than they are. "These are separation papers," I say, handing them toward her. "My attorney has already started the process for a temporary restraining order. You'll be served formally, but I wanted you to hear it from me first." She doesn't take them. "You have got to be kidding me. You walked out of this house for 5 days. I say. "No note, no text. Took nothing but your wallet and vanished. Then you came back wearing new boots and a new attitude and told me to relax. Whatever was left of us died in that moment." Her face cycles so fast it's almost funny if it didn't hurt. Rage, confusion, fake hurt. "You can't kick me out. I have rights. I'll call a lawyer. I'll tell them you're controlling, that you're unstable, that—" "Say whatever you want," I reply. "But from this point on, everything that happens gets recorded." I tap the screen. The camera icon glows red. Her eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Very," I say. "You've been asked to leave. There's a suitcase packed with your clothes. You'll get a full itemized list and a schedule to come get anything else with a third party present." She crosses her arms, voice rising. "I'm not leaving. This is my house. You can't make me leave my own house." "Actually," I say, calm. "The judge can. And she will. Until then, this video plus your refusal to leave is just more evidence." I step back, giving her space, phone steady in my hand. I don't yell. I don't move toward her. I just hold the line. She throws another 5 minutes of everything she's got at me. Tears that appear too fast, threats about taking half of everything, accusations that I'm overreacting. I let the camera catch all of it. My responses stay short. "You need to leave, Amanda. I'm not discussing this without lawyers present." "No, I'm not turning off the camera." Eventually, she runs out of new tactics. Her breathing's sharp, her hands shaking with either anger or fear. I don't know anymore. She finally snatches the suitcase handle, yanks it so hard it almost tips. "This isn't over," she spits. She's wrong, but not in the way she thinks. The door slams hard enough to rattle the frame. The house goes quiet again, same as 5 days ago, but the silence feels different now. For a second, I let myself think. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's finally over. I don't know yet that it's just the opening shot. The first knock comes at 7:32 a.m. I'm at the kitchen counter, pouring coffee into a mug that isn't cold this time. The house smells like dark roast and rain-wet lawn through the cracked window. For the first time in a week, I actually slept. Then the pounding starts. "Jason, open the door. We need to talk rationally." Rationally. Good start. I walk to the door, slide the deadbolt, and crack it to the length of the chain. Amanda's on the porch in yesterday's clothes, hair less perfect now. The attitude's still there, though chin high, arms folded. Morning, I say, sipping my coffee. Take this chain off, she orders. This is ridiculous. I hold up my phone instead. The PDF is already open. Temporary restraining order, granted yesterday afternoon. You were served at your sister's place, so you've seen this. Her eyes flick to the screen, then back to me. I came to talk, Jason. You can't hide behind paperwork. I read, calm and clear, like I'm reciting a grocery list. You are prohibited from entering the marital residence or its immediate premises except by court-approved arrangement. You are to have no contact except through counsel or mutually agreed written communication. She laughs, sharp. What, you think you're a cop now? I'm standing on my own porch. No, I say. You're standing in front of a camera. The security cam over the door blinks its little red light. My phone's already on record. I document the time, the date, her presence, her words. My attorney, David Collins, drilled it into me. Every violation is evidence. Don't engage. Document. This is insane, she says, voice pitching up. We're married. We should be working this out, not dragging each other to court. You disappeared for 5 days, I reminded her. You walked back in like you went on a Target run. You smirked. And now there's a court order. That was you, Amanda. This is me responding. She shifts tactics. I can see it happen like changing costumes. Day 1 of the siege, she's angry. Day 2, she's calm and reasonable. Day 3, she shows up crying. Day 4, she brings her mother to hammer the doorbell like it's a fire alarm. Each time, I open the door to the chain, coffee in hand, phone recording. Each time, I read some version of the same lines from the order. Each time, she ignores them and performs for whichever audience she thinks will work. Me, the neighbors, her mom, whoever. Jason, please. She sobs on day 3. Makeup streaked, sitting on the porch steps. I lost my job. Can't make rent. I don't have anywhere to go. That's the one that almost gets me. Because under all the anger and the legal language, she's still the woman I once planned a life with. The one who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during bad movies. Seeing her there, small and wrecked on the concrete, something in my chest twists. I sit down in the doorway, chain still on, wood between us. When did you lose the job? She sniffs. 2 months ago. And you didn't tell me. I knew how you'd react. She snaps, anger slipping through the tears. You'd judge me. You'd make it about responsibility and planning and... So instead, I say quietly, you drained $5,000 out of our savings and vanished with a guy from work for 5 days. Her head jerks up. She didn't expect me to know that yet. I don't have proof in my hand, but I have suspicion and a brain, and I've already heard enough from the bank to fill in the outlines. We'll get the rest in discovery, I add. David's handling it. She shakes her head, tears drying up. You're really going to do this? You're really going to leave me with nothing? I stare at her for a long moment. The anger's there, but it's quiet now, coiled, controlled. There's a women's shelter on Oak Street, I say. They can help you get stable. Or your sister has a spare room upstate. You've got options. I have you, she says, like it's still true. Or I did. No, I answered. You had me, then you made a choice. These are the consequences. I'm not going to save you from them. For a second, the mask drops. I see something like fear, real and raw. It hits me in the gut. I don't move. The camera records the silence. The rain started to spit again. Her fingers knotted in her jacket sleeve. My coffee is slowly cooling in my hand. Finally, she stands. You're cruel, she says flatly. Maybe, I replied. But I'm done being stupid. She walks down the steps without looking back this time. I logged in. Time, date, behavior, witnesses. I email the file to David with a subject line that feels unreal. RO violations, days 1 to 4. Pointing a lens at the woman I loved and treating her like a legal problem feels like knocking down my own house. But standing there in the doorway, chain still hooked, I know something else too. I'd rather feel this cold, clean sadness than the panic she left me with. This isn't revenge. It's distance. And it's only driving us further apart. By the time I'm sitting in David Collins's office, the panic is gone. What's left is this dry, black humor you get after you've cried yourself empty. David's mid-40s, suit a little rumpled, tie loose. He reads Amanda's counterfiling while I stare at the framed law degree behind his head. According to her, I abandoned her emotionally and created a hostile environment. He snorts. They all use the same template, he says, flipping a page. You'd think for $300 an hour they'd get creative. I handed him the folder he asked for, bank emails, partial statements, the notice about the $5,000 withdrawal I didn't authorize. We'll get the full picture in discovery, he says. Bank records, cards, phone logs. You wanted answers. This is how adults get them. 3 weeks later, the answers land on his desk in a stack. I'm back in the same chair, coffee from his machine cooling in my hand, when he drops the printouts in front of me. No ceremony, just impact. Here we go, he says. Hotel charges first. Sterling Heights, a luxury place I've driven past and never stepped into because we're being responsible with money. 200 here, 400 there. 5 nights in a row. Then restaurants. Names I recognize from billboards, white tablecloth, wine list, anniversary material. I flip the pages. Spa charges. Jewelry. Ride shares pinging the same locations over and over. And there it is in black and white. Day 2 of her disappearance, 10:14 a.m. ATM, 5,000 cash pulled from our joint savings, less than a mile from that hotel. My ribs feel tight, like the room's lost air. David taps another sheet. Phone records. 17 calls in 5 days to this number. He slides a page over with the registration info highlighted. Registered to a James Caldwell. I already know the name. The difficult client. The one who texted too much and didn't respect boundaries. Turns out neither did she. While I was driving past hospitals at 3 in the morning, she was in a king-size bed on hotel sheets, eating room service on my dime. For 5 days I thought she might be dead. Turns out the only thing that died was my illusion of who I married. The morning we go to court, the sky matches the building. Flat gray, no expression. I sit on a hard bench in the hallway outside Judge Patricia Morrison's courtroom, file folder on my lap. David's next to me, scrolling through his tablet, every so often tapping something he wants handy. Across from us, Amanda sits with her attorney, Gerald Paxton. She's in a conservative dress I've never seen, hair pulled back, makeup careful. Paxton looks like every other overpaid litigator. Slick suit, tired eyes, ego bigger than his briefcase. The more he reads, the tighter his jaw gets. She told him you abandoned her. David murmurs without looking up. And that you're emotionally volatile. I huff a laugh that doesn't feel like one. Guess we'll see what the judge thinks. When they call our case, we file in me at the petitioner's table with David, her at the respondent's with Paxton. Judge Morrison is mid-60s, sharp eyes, no nonsense. The kind of woman who's seen every lie people tell themselves about marriage. Good morning, she says. We're here on Mr. Miller's petition for a personal protection order against his wife, Amanda Miller. I've reviewed the filings. Counsel. Paxton goes first. He stands, smooths his tie like we're about to film something. Your Honor, this is a marital dispute being escalated unnecessarily. My client experienced emotional neglect and felt unsafe communicating her needs. She left for a brief period to gain perspective. Mr. Miller's response. Locking her out of the home, cutting off access, and seeking a restraining order is disproportionate and controlling. He gestures toward me like I'm a problem piece of furniture. She simply wishes to return to her residence and resolve these issues in counseling, not court. Judge Morrison nods once, expression unreadable. Thank you, Mr. Paxton. Mr. Collins. David stands, no theatrics. Your Honor, if this were just a marital spat, we wouldn't be here. We have a 5-day disappearance, a missing persons report, financial misconduct, and repeated violations of a temporary order. He clicks his tablet. The screen on the evidence monitor lights up with a timeline he prepared. Day 1. Mrs. Miller leaves the home without notice. Does not return. Day 2. Mr. Miller files a missing persons report. Day 3 through 5, he contacts hospitals, family, law enforcement. During this same period, Mrs. Miller, he switches pages. Checks into the Sterling Heights Grand Hotel for 5 nights, charges several high-end dinners and spa services, and withdraws $5,000 cash from their joint savings. Paxton starts to rise. Your Honor, that money. You'll have your turn, the judge says, not raising her voice. David continues. Phone records show 17 calls in that same window to one James Caldwell, a client of Mrs. Miller's. Discovery shows his name on the hotel registry for overlapping dates. He taps again. The screen now shows still images from my phone videos. Amanda in the foyer, Amanda on the porch, Amanda with her mother at the door. In the days following her return, she repeatedly appears at the residence in violation of the temporary order, yelling, demanding access, and dismissing Mr. Miller's concerns. In one recording, she says, quote, "You should be thankful I came back at all. The words echo worse in this room than they did in my kitchen." Judge Morrison leans forward slightly. Play that clip. The audio isn't long. Just my voice asking where she'd been, her brushing it off. That line dripping out like poison. No one talks while it plays. I focus on the table, not the screen. When it ends, the judge turns to Amanda. "Mrs. Miller, stand, please." Amanda stands, hands tight around her purse strap. "Did you leave your marital home without informing your husband where you were going?" the judge asks. "Yes," Amanda says, chin lifting a little. "Did you contact him at any point during those 5 days?" "No." "Did you tell any family member or friend where you were?" She hesitates. "My friend Kelsey knew I needed space." "Did Kelsey know you were in a hotel with Mr. Caldwell?" David asks before Paxton can stop him. Paxton bristles. "Objection." "Overruled," the judge says. "You opened this door, Mr. Paxton." "Mrs. Miller." Amanda's eyes flash. "My personal life is now evidence." Judge Morrison cuts in. "Answer the question." "No," Amanda mutters. The judge nods slowly. "Did you withdraw $5,000 from a joint savings account without your husband's knowledge?" "Yes," she says a little louder. "I needed money." "For the hotel and associated expenses with Mr. Caldwell?" David adds. Paxton objects again, but it doesn't matter. The record speaks for itself. Judge Morrison sighs, flips through the papers in front of her, then looks straight at Amanda. "Mrs. Miller, did it occur to you at any point that your husband might believe you were injured or dead?" Amanda opens her mouth, closes it. I needed to breathe. I figured he'd assume I just needed time." The judge's eyebrows go up. "You were gone for 5 days. You took significant joint funds. You checked into a hotel with another man. You made no effort to communicate. And when you returned, rather than explaining or apologizing, you told your husband he should be thankful you came back at all." She lets that hang. "Now you want this court to believe he is the unreasonable party." The room is dead quiet except for the hum of the air system. "Here is my ruling," Judge Morrison says. "The court finds that Mr. Miller's fear and response were reasonable under the circumstances. His actions to secure the residence and seek legal protection were proportional to your choices. Mrs. Miller, not abusive." She looks at me next. "Mr. Miller, your petition for a personal protection order is granted for a period of 1 year. Mrs. Miller, you are prohibited from entering or approaching the residence and from contacting Mr. Miller outside of counsel." Amanda stiffens like she's been slapped. Paxton leans over, whispering hard in her ear. The judge continues, voice firm. "Furthermore, Mrs. Miller, given the evidence of your conduct, you should understand you are negotiating any future settlement from a position of significant weakness. I suggest you adjust your expectations accordingly." Gavel. Case called. Just like that, we stand. Papers shuffle. People move. My heart's pounding, but it's not panic this time. to something sharper, cleaner. In the hallway, David claps a hand on my shoulder. This was big, he says. The court just confirmed what you already knew. You weren't crazy. I look across the hall. Amanda is staring at the floor while Paxton talks at her, folder open in his hands. She looks smaller than I've ever seen her. For 5 days, I thought I was losing my mind. I doubted my instincts, questioned whether I was overreacting, wondered if I was the villain in some story I couldn't see. Walking out of that courtroom, papers in my hand, rain still coming down outside, I finally get it. I wasn't the one who broke this. I'm just the one who's done pretending it can be fixed. Mediation feels like going to an autopsy for a body everyone keeps calling the relationship. We sit across from each other at a long conference table. Amanda on one side with her new lawyer, some junior version of Paxton. Me on the other with David. In the middle, the mediator. Gray hair, neutral voice. Eyes that say he's seen every version of this before. Let's walk through the assets, he says, like we're talking about office supplies. House, retirement accounts, cars, furniture, debt. He lists them one by one, numbers in neat columns. To him, it's clean math. To me, it's memories. The dent in the hallway from moving on the couch. The spare room we were going to turn into a nursery someday. The grill I assembled in the rain while she laughed from the doorway. Amanda breaks her silence when we hit the house. I want half the equity, she says. I put years into that place. David doesn't even look up. And she took $5,000 out of the joint savings for her hotel vacation. He reminds the room. That offsets her share. My client keeps the house. She walks with the car she's already driving and her personal belongings. That's not fair, she fires back. I can't start over with nothing. You're not, David says calmly. You're starting over with the car, your clothes, some furniture, and no claim on his retirement. Considering the circumstances, that's generous. We go around in circles for an hour. Every time she hears something she doesn't like, that's not fair, starts to sound like a ringtone. Then we get support. The mediator clears his throat. Given the short duration of her unemployment and the misconduct involved, I'm recommending no permanent alimony. 6 months of temporary support at this amount. He slides the paper forward. Amanda stares at it like it's a joke. I can't survive on that. I lost my job. I've got nowhere to go. How am I supposed to live? David starts to answer, but I stop him with a small gesture. For the first time in mediation, I look straight at her and speak directly. You had a life, I say. You had a house, a husband, and options. You gambled it for 5 days with James in Sterling Heights and you lost. Her jaw tightens. You don't understand what I was going through. Maybe not, I say. But I know this. The man who loved you died somewhere between day 6 and 7 of your disappearance. Whatever you're trying to reach now. He's not here anymore. I'm not yelling. I'm not shaking. Comes out flat, steady, like I'm just stating the weather. The mediator watches us both, then nods slowly. Do you agree to the proposed terms? He asks each of us in turn. David nudges the paper toward me. I read it once, then signed. My name looks different than it did on our marriage certificate. Same letters, less hope. Across the table, after a long pause and some whispering arguing with her lawyer, Amanda signs too. That's how it happens. No dramatic goodbye. No big speech. Just 2 signatures on a stack of papers that say, in legal language, this is over. 6 months later, the house doesn't feel like our house anymore. Feels like mine. The bedroom walls are a different color now. No more soft gray she picked because it photographs well. I rolled on a solid, darker shade one weekend with the windows open and loud music playing. New bed, new sheets. Her side doesn't exist. The living room furniture is gone too. I sold half of it online, hauled the rest to the curb. In its place, a simpler setup. Couch, TV, a shelf with books that are actually mine. Her gallery wall of meaningful quotes is a blank stretch of paint. Her old office is now a home gym. Squat rack, mat, a cheap but loud Bluetooth speaker. The first time I deadlifted in that room, sweat on the floor where her desk used to be, something in my chest loosened. One random Tuesday morning, halfway through my eggs and coffee, I realize I've made it from alarm clock to dishes without thinking about her once. That's when my phone rings. Good news and gossip, David says. Which first? Gossip, I say. Paxton's under state bar investigation. Billing games, shady filings. Amanda paid him close to 15 grand she didn't have. Looks like credit cards and loans. I picture her chasing a savior and hiring a shark instead. And James Caldwell? David continues. Filed for bankruptcy. Turns out his big client persona was mostly a house of cards. I wait for the rush of satisfaction. It doesn't come. Just a tired kind of sadness for how thoroughly she burned down her life chasing smoke. The good news is later that week, sitting across from Sarah Jenkins at a small restaurant. We talk about books, travel, and places we might go one day that don't involve running from anything. You seem lighter, she says, studying me over her glass. Yeah, I answered. For the first time in a long time, whatever comes next, I get to choose it. The envelope shows up on a Tuesday. No return address, just my name in handwriting my brain recognizes before my eyes do. For a second, I think about tossing it straight in the trash. Instead, I sit at the kitchen table, the same spot where I stared at cold coffee and thought she might be dead, and open it. It's a long letter. Blue ink, cramped lines, a couple of blotches where she pressed too hard. She writes about therapy, about a midlife spiral, feeling trapped in a life she helped build, bored with the routine, scared she'd wasted her 20s and 30s being responsible. James, she says, was never really about James. He was a fantasy, proof she could still be wanted, still cause chaos, still matter. She admits she planned the disappearance, that she left her phone on the counter on purpose, that she thought if she came back acting like she was in control, hair perfect, new clothes, that smirk at the door, I'd be too off balance to push back. Underneath it, she says, she was terrified I'd look at her and see how broken she felt. There's an apology in there, not the shallow kind. She says she understands now what she did to me. The 5 days, the calls, the way she made me doubt my own mind. She says I was a good husband. She says she hopes I'm happy. I read it 3 times. The first as a husband. The second as the guy who sat in court listening to hotel receipts get read into the record. The third as a man who's already halfway into his next life. And that's when it hits me. This isn't my closure. I already got that, piece by piece in therapy, in quiet nights alone, in repainting rooms and lifting in what used to be her office, in laughing with Sarah over stupid memes and future trips. I fold the letter and put it in a drawer. It stays there for a while like an artifact from a life I used to live. Weeks later, on a calm Saturday, I took it out again. No anger, no shaking hands. I feed it through the shredder, watch the strips curl into the bin. Not erasing the past, just refusing to let it run the present. Now I'm back in this same kitchen, but it's different. Morning sun on clean counters. Fresh coffee instead of cold sludge. An email from Sarah about weekend plans. A text from David. Divorce decree recorded. Congratulations on your freedom. I look out at the yard. The garden's a mess. Overgrown, half-dead shrubs, patches of dirt. It used to be her project. I decide I'm tearing it all out in the spring and building something new. Not for a photo. Not for anyone else. Just because I can. What she did will always be a chapter in my story. But it's not the title. It's not the point. The part that matters now is who I am after all of it, and the life I build from here. And that's the story I intend to make worth reading.